Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing ribs 3 different ways. Stay tuned. I've got my MasterBuilt 1050 fired up. We've got some Smoky Woods barbecue, lump charcoal, and pecan chunks in there getting hot and ready to go. We're going to be setting this at about 300 degrees just so we can cook these at a nice even temperature. Now I said we're going to be doing ribs 3 different ways. I actually have 2 different sets of spare ribs here. Some of these are St. Louis cut and some are just the raw primal cut of St. Louis spares, and we'll show you how to trim them up either way. Now for our primal cut, it's got that chine bone on it. It's still got all that excess stuff all over it, and we're going to do a little bit of trimming, but we're going to leave that chine bone. We're going to leave all this cartilage on there, and we're going to do more of a traditional style cook with these. And the other 2 sets, I'm going to be using 3 different rubs, one from my buddy Uncle Steve, my buddy Aaron over at Texas Oil Dust, and a good friend of mine outside of Houston that's starting his own rub company, wants to keep a little bit of a secret, and I just want to try it out and see how it tastes. For the 2 non-traditional, we are going to be doing a wrap with a glaze, and we're going to be using Big Wick's Nacogdoches Blueberry. It's going to be absolutely delicious. Let's come in. Let's take a look how we trim these up. So let's start off with this more traditional style. Now, it's not going to be traditional flavors per se, but it's going to be a traditional style. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that fat off right there. Not a ton. I'm not going to chase any fat off of these. Just want to take a little bit of that off. See how thin this is? It's see-through. It's got holes in it. I'm going to take that off just because I don't want it to burn. And it's got a tiny, tiny bone there, really thin. I'm just going to follow that up and square this off. We're not competition trimming or cooking any of these ribs today. I just want to make it simple and good, and something for you to do in the backyard without it being too complicated. Really, on these, this is about all we're going to do. I might take a little bit of that off the edge behind that chine bone there, but that's about it. Let's see if we can get it. Cutting our finger. There we go. On the front side. Let's turn it over. You're going to see with these primal cuts, they leave a lot of junk on here. This is the diaphragm of the hog, and we're going to go ahead and take that off real fast. It's not bad. It's good to eat, really. It's just, it takes so long to cook all this that that'll overcook by the time that's ready. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this off. Now, I'm cooking at 300 degrees, so you don't have to worry about pulling the membrane. I'm just taking these flaps off. There's a little bit of fat there. I'm just going to score that. Some of it will crumble. It's really soft. You can almost just pull it off there. Same thing here. You can just pull some of that top layer of fat off. I'm not super worried about it. And that's it for these traditional spares. All right, so for these St. Louis cut, you can see they're a little more skinny. That chine bone's off. That cartilage is mostly taken off. It's a little more squared away and scored off. Again, I'm going to take a little bit of this fat off the front side. I'm going to feel over here, see how thin it is compared to over here. And I really want it to cook even. So the goal of it is to get even thickness all the way across so you don't have those burnt end pieces. And it's not the good burnt ends like we always talk about in the barbecue world. It's just dried, jerky ribs, and it's not any good. We'll flip it over. Again, we're going to take off this diaphragm, as a good friend of mine calls it. Split that off. There's a little flap right there that's just going to burn. We're going to cut that off. Again, we're just going to leave the membrane on. We're cooking at 300 degrees. These are going to be bone side down for the biggest majority of the time, so there's no reason to cut that or peel that membrane off. So we're going to do the second set identical to this. Super easy, nice and squared, nice and even. Not a big old hunk of fat here. Sometimes people like to take this as a muscle over some fat. They like to take that off. I don't. I'll just season it really good and let it render down. All right, so we got the second rack trimmed up the same exact way. Left the membrane on. Again, we're cooking at 300 degrees. No reason to cut it off. I found that there's not a ton of difference in the outcome of it there. We got a lot of flies out here today, but we've got this one trimmed up. We got all 3 of them ready to go. We're going to get them seasoned. We're going to get our smoker turned up 300 degrees. The charcoal's nice and lit, and we'll start rolling from there. More traditional. This is a friend of mine's, kind of an all-purpose sweet barbecue rub. Flies away. I'm going to hit it pretty heavy. I like the large granules of garlic and onion and salt and pepper in here. I think it's going to be a good all-purpose for sure. I'm going to turn it over. No binder needed. You see how well that's set on there? Now, I'm not against binders by any means. I like them. Some binders can add flavor. They can add texture. In competitions, when I don't use binders, I actually do not as well when I do binders. So it does actually do something. I couldn't tell you exactly what it does. I can't always taste the difference, but the results are pretty clear. There is a difference. See how well that stuck? It was just laying on there. I'm going to go ahead and throw these on the smoker. I do like to throw them on the smoker while it's getting warmed up, kind of like a brisket, and continue seasoning the next ones. Push them together a little bit. That chine bone hanging off, no fact. Next, we're going to be using Texas Oil Dust Piggy Bank. It's my buddy Aaron Leslie, and this is really good stuff. Usually I layer this on with a couple of different Texas Oil Dust ones, but look at the color on this one. This is why I really like Piggy Bank. Get out of there, fly. I really like this color on these, and they are absolutely delicious. It's got great flavor. It's got great color. Presentation and all that good stuff is outstanding. So again, we're going to put it on nice and thick. I know all three of these racks are going to be really good. I just want to give them some uniqueness and variety to their flavor. Touch up just a little bit. We'll get these thrown on. We'll come back and do the last one. All right, for our last, we're going to be using Uncle Steve's Competition Pig Shake. This is also really good. I like that you can see all the pepper granules in this one as well. It's a little sweeter than the others, I think, but it's good stuff. I'd use Magic Rib on this one, but I'm out, so I'll have to make an order from Uncle Steve here pretty soon. I need some Amigo and Competition Bird and some Magic Rib. Nice and thick, sticks pretty decently. I mean, just a little bit came off, not even a teaspoon. And you can let these sweat in if you wanted to. I've seasoned these overnight and let them sit. I've let them sweat in for an hour before, or you can just throw them right on. It really depends on how savory you want the flavor to be. But we're just going to throw them right on today for time's sake. Not a ton fell off. We'll get these thrown on there. All right, we got it loaded down. We had to finagle it in there a little bit, but that's okay. Again, MasterBuilt. Let's do some better shelves. I'm going to leave them alone for an hour and a half. All right, guys, it's been an hour and a half. We're going to pull these off. So the first ones I'm going to pull off are going to be those St. Louis style spare ribs that we're going to glaze. That's going to be the ones that we seasoned with Texas Oil Dust and Uncle Steve's. I'm just going to show you us wrapping up one of those because we're going to do them the same. Pull them off, throw on some butter, throw on some glaze, wrap them up, throw them back in there. Really pretty color. See that Texas Oil Dust red has a beautiful mahogany color to it. Steve's has a good red color to it. And then that traditional, you really see the salt and pepper standing out. They plumped up nicely. Let's get them wrapped up. Bring them over here to our foil. We're going to just set it down right there for now. I've got some butter. This is a full stick of butter that I just cut into thirds. I'm going to throw the butter down underneath it. Good bones starting to pull back. So butter down underneath it. We're going to take our Big Wicks Nacogdoches blueberry and glaze this up. I've been excited to try this one. This is one of the only ones I hadn't had yet, and I'm super excited about it. Well, I had it over at Wes's house, but I haven't actually cooked with it myself, so super excited about it. It goes amazing with pork that I've had with him firsthand. We're going to wrap it up nice and tight. Of course, the wind picked up. We're in West Texas, so obviously that had to happen, right? We're not worried about spreading it out. We don't want to mess up any of that bark. We're just going to let it settle its own in the heat. Grab it up nice and tight so there's no air pockets in there. Heavy duty foil, we don't want that butter to leak out because these bones will pop through even with heavy duty foil. So we'll get it set back on there. We're going to do the other set the same exact way, and I'll bring you back to do the more traditional style. All right, let's get these traditional ones out. We're not going to be glazing these. We're just going to be wrapping them with a little bit of butter to finish off. You see we got the other two glazed up, wrapped and set in there. We're going to throw this down. That out of the way. Let's get our butter chunk. And I'm going to throw it right there on top. I'm going to hit it with just a hair more of this. Barbecue joints, this is pretty much all they do. They'll hit it with a little bit of this. They might hit it with a little bit of simple syrup when they wrap it, just water and sugar, but butter and extra seasoning is all they do. And I just had about a teaspoon left, so we're just going to finish it off with it. I love the way this seasoning looks, though. I did double this one up and go across. Just barely big enough, almost not big enough for that chine bone. Wrap it up nice and tight. May have to do one across the top because we don't want it to steam out. Kind of working fast with this. You don't necessarily have to, but it is better if you do, just because the cooking inertia will slow down. You want to keep that meat chugging on down the line, keep that cooking inertia up. Kind of like a big train. Once you get it going, it's hard to slow it down, but once it starts slowing down, it's hard to speed it back up. So we're going to get this back on there, and we're going to check on these in another 30 minutes or so for tenderness. All right, guys, it has been 2.5 hours, 300 degrees on our MasterBuilt 1050. We've been powering it with our Smoky Woods Barbecue lump charcoal and some pecan chunks. Now, that's my favorite combination for smoking wood, is the lump and the pecan. I think it gives a great flavor. Let's check them out. We're going to pull them out. We're going to throw them down. We're going to open them up. Now, remember, you can get everything that I used here today except for the Uncle Steve's and my friend's little secret new blend at Fire and Ice Outdoors here in Lubbock, Texas. The Smoky Woods Texas Oil Dust products. They got Big Wicks. They've got Inspector's Choice. They've got Smokin' X, my buddy John. All of those things here in town, and I know you're going to enjoy all of them. So let's go ahead and get them grabbed out, throw them down, and we'll get them opened up so you can see them. First, we got our more traditional, believe it or not, it's hot. It smells awesome. Got our Texas Oil Dust in the middle. And our little secret blend on the end. That one was ready to open. All right, get that closed down. We'll shut that down. Let's get in close. Let's take a look and see how these turned out. So you saw the color on those. It was absolutely amazing. I think the color from Texas Oil Dust really outshined all of them, but those traditional style ones, you just can't beat that nice buttery golden color with those nice large pepper flakes on top. It just makes me want to devour them right now. But we're not going to actually slice into these and test these today like I usually do on these videos. I'm going to take these to a friend of mine's house, and we're going to enjoy them all tonight, and they're going to be amazing. I have zero doubt about it. Big Wicks flavors are always really delicious. I think it's going to really complement the spicy and savoriness of the Texas Oil Dust. It's really going to complement that savory sweetness of Uncle Steve's, and then the traditional, and you just can't beat it. So enjoy those. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and as always, drink more water.